Hi students, our study is about square root. You know a square root from before. What is a square root? A square root is a number written in a reduced form. It cannot be simplified, anymore, whose power is half. And this a power half is denoted by root a or square root a. Okay? So here we have as if we have a 2. So we say equal a power 1 over 2. So what we don't put it. So if you have x equal a root half, which is equal square root a, if you square both sides, as you can see here, so power for power you multiply half times 2 is 1. So that's why square can never be negative, and that's why a can never be negative. So always if you have a square root a, always inside, this is called radicand, always must be positive. So note the first note, if you have a square root of a power 2n, if you want to get rid of the square root, you want to use the property, it can be written inside the radicand, and this square root will be power half. Power of a power you multiply, so a power n. So that's why if you have, for example, x power 8, it is directly x power 4. Why? Because you divide 8 by 2, because the square root is 8 power half, x power 8 power half. If you have, for example, x power, for example, 10, so you write it as x power 10 over 2, which is 5. But since x can never be negative, so I cannot keep it like this, because if x here is negative, x can be positive or negative. So we put absolute value to say that this is always must be positive. Here, no need to put absolute value, because if x is negative and power is even, minus will be plus. And if the power is odd, it will be power half. If you multiply 2n times half is n times half. So this you can split it. So a and root a. So from now and on, for example, if you have power, for example, 2 power 5 or 7, let me take 7. So what do? You divide 7 by 2. If you divide 7 by 2, you're going to get power 3. And power 0.5 that you have it here, it will be square root of the number. So it will be 8 root 2. For example, let us take these two examples. If you have square root 5 power 12, the square root is power half. 12 power half, you're going to get 5 power 12 and all power half. So if you multiply directly, it will be 5 power 6. So we don't have any more square root, because I don't have point when I divide. However, here if you have 17, square root of 5 power 17. If you divide 17 by 2, you're going to get 8.5. So you can write this one as 5 power 8 and 5 power 0.5. But we know 5 power 0.5 is nothing else by definition, as you can see it here, is a square root 5. So that's why if you have, for example, here 17, you divide 17 by 2. The 0.5, it means square root of the number. Okay, now simplify. Root 25 directly is 5. Root 8, you all know it's 4 times 2. Root 4 is 2. Okay, so 2, sorry, here you have something wrong. So 2 root 2. Or you can do it square root 8. If you do the prime factorization, this is 2 cube. Okay, so you divide this power 3 by 2. This power 3 by 2 is 1.5. 1.5, it means 2 power 1 inside and 2 power 0.5, it will be root 2. If you have a 1200, if you do the prime factorization, you know how to do prime factorization. You learned it before. You divide by 2, it's 600. You divide by 2 by prime numbers, you're going to get 300. You divide by 2, 150, etc., etc. It's written of that form. Now we start. I look at the power. 4 divided by 2 is 2 square outside. 2 divided by 2, it's 5 power 1 outside. Remains radically 3. I cannot divide the power 1. So you're going to get 4 times 5, 20 root 3. 243 is a 3 power 5. You can check it by doing prime factorization like I did here. Now 5 divided by 2 is 2.5. So 3 square outside and 1 3 power 1 inside. X power 7 here. So this is 3.5. So x cubed. But x, since x can never be negative, so I put absolute value. So here it's x cubed. And remains what? 3x inside. Why? Because the power is odd. If you want to do it from now and on, if the power is odd, remains one power 1 and power 1, for example, like this one outside, inside the square root, and then the quotient, which is 5 divided by 2, the quotient is 2, will be outside. 7 divided by 2, 3, the quotient outside, and if it's odd, one thing remains inside. 240, this is the prime factorization. Here I forgot to put x power 5. Here I have x power 5 inside. So now let me do it again. 2 power 4, you have to, if you want, do it like this. If you have power odd, here power even, power odd, 5 remains inside. Power odd 3 power 1, 3 power inside. X power 5 power odd remains 1x inside. Now I divide by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 1 I cannot divide by 2, 1, nor here. 5 divided by 2 is what square? No need to put absolute value. Why? Because x is even. So what will be the answer? The answer will be 4 x squared root 15x. Now 12 is 2 squared times 3, x8, y9, z10. Now here power is odd, so 1 3 inside. Here, um, let me put the laser. Y power 19, 1 y inside. Here power even, nothing will remain inside. Only the 3 and the y because the powers are odd. Now I divide by 2. The power here is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 4. 9 divided by 2 is 4. 0.5 it means inside. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Oh, no need to put absolute value for x or for y because the power is even, always positive. I put for z to say that z must be positive. More example, this can be simplified 81 to 3 power 4. Even, y power odd remains 1y, even nothing inside, only I have root y. So I divide by 2, 3 square, x 10, y 10, 5 power 5, but I put the absolute value because the power here is odd. 448, you can check it, this can be done, written of that sort. Power even outside, odd remains 7 inside as you can see. Even, all x outside. Y cube odd remains 1y. Odd remains 1x plus 2. So I divide now by 2, 3 to cube. 7 as we said our inside. 6 power 6 3. I put absolute value because the power here is odd. Y cube divided 3 divided by 2 is 1. 0.5 we said it's inside, so I put here absolute value for y as you can see, and 3 also divide by 2 is 1. I put for x plus 2 absolute value. Here you can check, this is the answer. Power odd 1 5 inside, 17 1x inside. Here even and even all goes outside. 3 divided by 2 is 1, the quotient. 17 divided by 2 is 8, quotient. 20 divided by 2 is 10. 12 divided by 2 is 6. No need to put anywhere absolute value because all powers are even. Here you can check this is the correct one. Here x power 1 remains inside. Here power odd 3 remains 1y. Z power 19 remains 1z. We divide by 2, it will be 2 power 4. 3 divided by 2, 1. 19 divided by 2 is 9. So I put here absolute value because the powers here are odd. Here 28. What's a 28? A 28 is 7 times 4 or 7 times 2 square or times 4 or 2 square. 7 outside, inside, sorry. A inside because power is odd. B power odd also inside. So now I have 3a cube outside. A 7 I cannot do anything. 2 squared it goes 2 outside. Then 2 divided by 2. 3 divided by 2 is 1. 5 divided by 2 is 2. So what will be the final answer? 3 times 2 is 6. A cube times A, so A4. No need to put any more absolute value because the power now is A cube times A1. You add the powers. B square, power is even, so no need to put. And square root 7AB. Root A times root B is root A B. So 54, you do each one alone is 3 cube times 2. 24 is 2 cube times 3. So you put it in 1. Here you have 2, here you have 2 cube. If you add the power, 1 plus 3 is 4. 3 cube and 3, so 3 power 4 because 3 plus 1. X7, X12, X5. If you add 7 plus 5, X12. So it's the same as what we did up, but we have to do each one and then to write it in 1. So here all powers are even, no square root anymore. So 2 squared. 4 divided by 2, 3 square, x6. So the answer will be 4 times 9, 36, x6. Here, 14, you all know, 14 is 7 times 2. So I have 2 7, so 7 square. I have here a 2, here a 2, so 2 square. I have here is 7 and here is 7. We said about 7. So you have x5, x7, x5 and x1. If you add 7 plus 5 is 12 plus 1 13 and I have 1 y. So if you do it even, here odd, so remains xy inside. 7, 2 divided by 2 is 1, 2 divided by 2 is 1. You have 7 and 2 outside, so it will be 14. 13 divided by 2 is x power 6. No need to put absolute value. Here the same. 6 is 2 times 3. So as you can see, if you want to do it step by step, this is 2 and 3. So I have 2 square, 3 square. So it will make 2, 3 outside, which is 6. X power 1, x power 1 and x power 1 is x cube. Y power 1 and y power 1 is y square. So here power odd remains root x out inside. Now I divide 3 by 2. So x1, 2 divided by 2 y1. So I put for both absolute value. You can put for each one absolute value or I can combine it together. Here root 12, 12 is 2 square times 3. 24, 2 cube. Always do prime factorization, prime numbers. 243, you can check it, is 3 power 5. So how many 2 I have here? 2 square, 2 cube, so 2 power 5. How many 3? 3, 1, 2, 3, and here 5, so 8. How many x? X power 1, x power 1, you add the powers, and x7, so 9. I have 2y, y square. Power odd, so 1, 2 inside. Power odd, 1x inside. So 5 divided by 2 is 2 square, which is 4. 8 divided by 2 here is 4, so 3 power 4 is 81. 9 divided by 2 is 4, quotient. 2 divided by 2 is 1. I put for only y absolute value, y because the power is odd. Now all the rest of the problems, all variables are positive, so no need to put any more absolute values. 15 is 5 times the 3, so I have 1 5 as you can see, 2 3, a 3 here and a 3 here, 3 square. X power 1 and x cube is x4, y12 and y5, y17. Here power odd remains 1 5 inside, here power 17, 1 y inside. 2 divided by 2 is 3, 4 divided by 2 is x squared, 17 divided by 2 is 8. So from now and on, no need to talk about absolute value because I said all the variables are positive. Here, 15 is 5 times 3. I have 2 5 here and here, so 5, sorry, I made a mistake here. Oh, a lot of mistakes. So here I have 3 without the power. How many m I have m cube? How many n you have n cube? So what do we get? Equal. Power here is odd. I put this one first of all. 3 inside. M inside because the power of m is odd. And n inside because the power of n is inside. So 2 divided by 2 is 5. 3 divided by 2 is m. I don't put absolute value as we said because the all numbers are the all variables are positive, and n divided by and 3 divided by 2 is, and so 5mn square root 3mn. Here 12 is 2 square times 3. 42 is 7 times 2 times 3. So how many 2 I have? 3. How many 3 I have? 2. How many 7 I have? A 7 here and a 7 here. So x6 plus 3 plus 1, x10. All the powers here are even except the 2, so remains 1 2 inside. So if you divide by 2, 2 outside, 3 outside, 7 outside, so this will be the product 42 as you can see. 10 divided by 2 is 5, so I don't put absolute value because all are positive. 27 is a 3 cube. 12 is 2 square times a 3. So I have 2 square and 3 power 4 and x plus 1 power 3. Here power odd, here power odd, so remains 1y and x plus 1. So 2 divided by 2 will be 2 outside. The 3 power 4, 4 divided by 2 is 2, so 3 squared. 9 times 2 is 18, and you have x plus 3 divided by 2 is 1, remains x plus 1 outside. 14 is 7 times 2. So I have 1 7 and 2 square. X7, x3 and x, if you add the power x11, 2x minus 3, here power 1, here power 3, power 4. So here power odd, here power odd, so 7x inside, so 2 divided by 2 is 2 power 1, the 11 divided by 2 is 5, and 4 divided by 2, so sorry, here you have something wrong, we put power 2, because 4 divided by 2 is 2. Now, I cannot, for addition here, here it was times, now I'm going to do addition. I have root 2 minus 3 root 2, because I have root 2 as if I have x minus 3x. So what do? You put minus 2x, so it will be minus 2 root 2. 3 root 5 plus 2 root 5 as if you have 3y plus 2y, because root 5 suppose it's y. 3y plus 2 root y is 5 root y, so it's 5 root 5. You cannot add root 2 to root 5, so that's why I stop here. 12 you all know is 2 square times 3. 18, 3 square times 2. 50, 5 square times 2. So 2 square will be 2 outside, so 4 root 3. Here 3 goes outside, 9 root 2. 5 square, it will be 5 outside, 10 root 2. Now I can add root 2 to root 2, but I cannot add it to root 3. Minus 9 plus 10, minus 9x plus 10x is x, and so it's root 2. And you have the 4 root 3. Another one, 12 is 2 square times the 3. 18, 3 square times 2. 72, you can do it 36. Root 36 is 6 outside. So directly it's 6 outside and remains 2. 98 is 49 times 2. Directly 7 outside times 7 and remains 2. So what do we get? Here 2 outside 14 root 3. Here 3 outside 15 root 3. Root 9 times 2 root 2. I have some mistake in these. Here 66 root 2 and here minus 14 root 2. So now what do I get? All are root 2s. All are root 2 except this one, which is my 14 root 3. I cannot do anything with 14 root 3. Okay. Now root 2 root 2 root 2 I can add. Minus 15 minus actually minus 66 minus 14 minus 80 minus 15, so minus 95 root 2. Okay, very easy. Here I have 45. 45 is 9 times 5. Root 9 is a 3. No, 9 times 5 or 3 square times 5. Root 9 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6a root, and a goes out because you have power 3 if you divide it. So here I cannot add. Why? Because I know I have root 5a and root 5a, but here I have 1. Here I have 6a. I cannot add 1 to 6a. Maximum, if you want, it's up to you. You can put root 5a in factor. If you want to put root 5a in factor, here you're going to get 1, and here you're going to get 6a. I cannot add 1 to 6a, so I stop here. Okay? Here I can put 4 in factor. Here I can put x squared in factor. So 4, it goes 2 outside. So 2, and you have x, 2x root x minus 1. X squared, it goes x outside. So you have you have the same square root. You can add the coefficient. 2x minus x is x root x minus 1. Number 26, a squared b, a goes out, so you're going to get 4a squared root b. You can see it here. Here b goes out, so ab root b. Here b goes out, minus 5ab root ab. I cannot add 4a squared to ab and to ab here, because 4a squared you cannot add it to ab. So maximum I can do ab minus 5ab is minus 4ab root b. And if you want, you can put, for example, in factor root b. If you want, it's up to you. 4, you have a square and a, you put a. You can put root b because it's in both. You open parentheses. Here what's missing, so a. Here what's missing is b, because I have 4a and I have root b. Here 12, you all know it's 2 square. 4 times the 3. Root 4 is 2, so you're going to get 2 times 7, 14. 14. X, you have the x, you have it here. Y square, it will be y outside. So remains inside here 3x, as you can see. Here 27 is 9 times the 3. Root 9 is a 3, so 27y, and 1x goes out. 27xy remains a 3x because the power of x is odd. 100, 10 times the 3, 100 times the 3, 100 root 100 is 10, so 50. Oh, 50 here, 50. 50. X goes out, y goes out, remains root 3x. Now what do I have? Xy, 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 root 3x, root 3x, root 3x. So I can add 14 minus 27 is minus 13. Minus 13 plus 50, it is 37 minus 37 root 3x. Here you multiply distributive property. 4 times 9, 36. 4 times root 13 is 4 root 13. Minus root 13 times 9 is minus 9 root 13. Minus root 13 times root 13. Root x times root x is x. So minus root 13 times root 13 is 13. Now you can add these two and these two. 36 minus 13 is 23. Minus 4 root 3, 13. Minus 9 root 13 is minus 4, and minus 9 minus 13 root 13. Here, before you multiply, you know that 75 is 25 times the 3, or 5 squared times the 3. And the root of 25 is 5. 5 times 3 is 15 root 3. You can multiply. Root 5 times root 5 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Now, you want to multiply this one with that one. Inside with inside, outside with outside. So 1 times minus 15 minus 15. Root 5 times root 3 is root 15. Okay. Here, you have root 75. So before we start, let us do it prime factorization. This is 25 times 3. Root 25 is 5 outside. So this is a minus b square. You all know a square, so 4, and root 5 square, so 4 times 5 is 20, minus 2ab. Let me do it step by step for you to understand. We said this is 2, the property, minus 2ab. So this video is going to take some time because it's not only I'm explaining, I'm doing all the problems, so that's why it will take time. So you can split it, for instance, to 4 times. You listen for each 10 minutes, then you solve it, then you will continue. So you can do it step by step. Okay, so a square minus 2ab plus b square. You know that if you square here, it will be 4 times 5, because root 5 square is 5, so you have a 20. Here you multiply outside. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 15, 60. Oh, this is 60 minus 60, and root 5 inside the square root times inside the square root 15. 15 square here, 2 to 5, and root 3 square is 3. So step by step you're going to get this one. Okay, now 20 root 5 minus 60 root here 60 root 5 times 15. 5 times 15, come in. This is I have kept root 5 outside, so I did okay. 20 plus 675 is 695 minus 60 root 15. If you want, you can continue, or you can keep it. If you want to continue, it will be minus 60 root 5 times root 15. This will be 5 squared times the 3, because 15 is 5 times the 3. You can simplify it, plus 695 if you want to continue. Both are correct. Root 5. So now here you can take 5 outside, so it will be minus 300 root 3 plus 695 root 5. Okay, here this is a minus b into a plus b. Remember, it's a square minus b square, so a square, so 16 minus, it is a square minus root 13 all square. So it's 16 minus 13, because root 13 or square is 13, so 16 minus 13 is 3. Here you expand, come in a minus b into a plus b. This is 2 square, which is 4, minus 3 root 5 all square. So it will be 4 minus here, it will be 9 times 5 because root 5 square is 5 times 9, 45 minus 41. Here we did it a square minus 2ab, 4 square is 16, 2ab in 8 root 13 plus b square root 13 all square 13, 16 plus 13, 29 minus 8 root 13. Now another note, you cannot keep in math a square root in denominator, so that's why we rationalize it. We multiply up and down by root x so that to cancel it. So it will be root x times root x is x. This is called rationalizing the denominator. For example, if you have 7 over root 5, you cannot keep root 5 down. So you multiply by this down, up and down, you don't change anything. But what do we get? 7 root 5, and root 5 times root 5 is 5. For example, if you have 2 over root 3, we cannot keep it like this, so we rationalize it. We multiply up and down by root 3. So this is simple. You're going to get 2 root 3 over 3. Okay? So here I have 2x over root 2x. Because I have root 2x, I multiply up and down by root 2x. So you're going to get 2x root 2x. Root 2x times root 2x. You all know root alpha times root alpha is alpha. Okay, so root 2x times root 2x is 2x. You can cancel this 2x. It means you're going to get root 2x. Here I can simplify before I do rationalizing better. 12 is 4 times 3. You're going to get 2 outside. 2 over 10 root 3x. Now because I have root 3x, I multiply it up and down. You're going to get 2 root 3x, and root 3x times root 3x is 3x. 3x times 10 is 30x. You can simplify 2 and 30. Remains 15x down. Here you can split it. Root 3 over root 7 minus 5 root 7, because this is 5 over 1 and you have root 7 over root 3. Here I multiply by root 7 up and root 7 down. Here I multiply by root 3 down and root 3 up to cancel the square root in denominator. You're going to get root 21 over 7 minus 5 root 21, because root 7 times root 3 is root 21. Root 3 times root 3 is a 3. You can stop here, but if you want to continue, you can do same denominator like the previous chapter we did last week. 21. 7 times 3 is 21, so I multiply up by 3. You're going to, you see here 3 root 21. 3 times 7 is 21. I multiply up by 7, so 5 times 7 35. 3 root 21 minus 35 root 21 is minus 32 root 21 over 21. Here the same thing. You multiply up by root 6 and down by root 6. Here I multiply up by root 5 to cancel up and down. So 2 root 30 over 6, you can see it. And here root 30 over 5. So same denominator, it's 2 and 6, you can keep it as a 3. Same denominator is 15, you can see it. 3 times 5 is 15, so I multiply here by 5 and down by 5 to get 15. Here I need what? 3. So I multiply up by 3 to get 15, I mean. So 5 root 30 minus 3 root 30 is 2 root 30 over 15. Here we simplify first of all outside with outside. You have a 3. X up and x square remains x. And now inside with inside, you can simplify by 2. You're going to get up 4 and down 3. X cube and x5 remains. Oh, Allah. So x squared, I'm doing some mistakes. So I'm going to write, instead of the 7, I'm going to put 8. I'm very sorry. So put 8, not to change everything. X cube and x8 remains x5. Root 4 is 2, we all know. Here we have x5, so its odd remains 1x, and the 3 is power odd. And 5 divided by 2 is x squared. X squared and x, it will be x cubed. Now I multiply by root 3x up, root 3x down. So it will be 2 root 3x. Root 3x times root 3x is the 3x. You're going to get at the end 9x4 down and this one up. Now 12 and 36 remains 3 down. X and x squared remains x down. 10 and 10 cancel out. 8 over 6 you can divide by 2. 4 up and the 3 down, you can see it. x5 and x cube remains x squared up and root y down. So I multiply also by root y 3y and root 3y. You're going to get 4 times 3 here if you want to do it, or 4 you can write it as 2x outside, no need to multiply, this can be simplified, root 3y, and down root 3y times root 3y is a 3y, 3y times a 3x, here if you multiply you're going to get 9xy. Okay, x and x can cancel out, remains 2 root 3y over 9y. The last note, and then we will be done before your homework. We said if you have one monomial like we did here, we multiply by root x root x. If you have two monomial like here, if you have a minus root b, to cancel the square root, you cannot multiply by root b. Why? Because if you have minus root b, if you want to multiply it by root b, you cannot cancel down. Why you cannot cancel down? Because I have two monomial, and if you do the multiplication, you're going to get root b, and you must distribute it down the property. A times root b is a root b, minus root b times root b is b. So I cannot do it this way. This is wrong. So that's why I cannot do it this way. So what do? We multiply by the conjugate. You know that a minus b into a plus b is a square plus b square. So if you have a minus root b, if you have two monomial, one or both are square root, you multiply by the conjugate. Why we multiply by the conjugate? Because the conjugate will let me take a alone and square it, and will let me take b alone and square it. So if you have a square in one or in both, no square anymore. So that's why if you have a minus root b, you multiply it by a plus root b, up and down, you're going to get a plus root b. A minus b into a plus b is a square minus b square, so it will be a square minus root b square, it will be b. If you have both square root, the same story. If you have a plus, you put minus root a plus root b into root a minus root b, up and down. You're going to get root a minus root b over a square minus b square, so it will be root a all square is a minus root b all square is b. You know, guys, what I'm telling you here, trying to say, for example, if you have root 5 plus root 7 down, okay, suppose this is down, all in denominator, plus root 5, sorry. If you multiply by root 7 minus root 5, what do you get? You're going to get a square minus b square, a plus b into a minus b, it's a square, so 7 minus b square minus 5, okay? If you have, for example, 2 root 3, in denominator I'm talking, okay, it's over, something over, minus 5, so you multiply up and down, the same here and down, 2 root 3, if you have more than one monomial. If you have one monomial like we did above, so here what do you get? A minus b into a plus b. So 4 times 3 is 12 because it's a square. 4 times 3 minus 25 in denominator. So I don't have any more square root. So always when you have, for example, like here 2 plus root 3, you multiply 2 minus root 3, not to change anything up and down. 1 times 2 minus root 3 is 2 minus root 3. A plus b into a minus b, a square. 2 square will be 4. Root 3 square is a 3. So 4 minus 3 is 1. Here you have root 2 minus root 3. You multiply up and down by root 2 plus root 3. So it's a square minus b square. A plus b. A minus b into a plus b is a square minus b square. So 2 minus 3. You have the minus. You put it before. So it will be minus root 2 minus root 3. If you have it like this, you multiply by the conjugate, as we said. This is called conjugate. So no need to expand up. You can keep it as it is. It's not a mistake. So a minus b into a plus b. So 49x, because you want a square alone. So 49 times x minus 25 times y. Here, if you have root x minus 5, you multiply by root x plus 5 up and down. So a square minus b square. So this is x minus 25. Here, the last one, as you can see here, if you want, if you take these two, what do you get? Let me do it step by step. This is a plus b into a minus b, so it's x minus xy. and you have times 1 minus y down. Let me simplify up. You have 1 plus root y, 1 minus root y, it's a square minus b square, 1 minus y, times what? X, this is 1 minus x minus xy. So these two cancel out, these two cancel out, you have 1. I want you, after listening to this video, to do this homework. Okay, this one you can screenshot now and do it. It's a summary of everything. Here you have one monomial. So what do? We multiply up by root 7 and down by root 7. Okay, sorry. Control minus. Okay, sorry. So you multiply, I have this one, I cannot write, I'm going to write it here, root 7 over root 7. I have one monomial, okay, and so on. However, here also, I have one monomial here. Come in root 2x up, root 2x down. Here, I simplify and then I write one monomial. Now here, I don't have one monomial, so I must multiply by the conjugate. 7 root x plus 5 root y, up and down. Okay, up and down. Here, the same thing. So I want you to do this homework. You can screenshot this one, do the homework. And here, I want you to do this homework and this page here. And within 2 days, I'm going to give you, for example, 2 days to listen to that video and to do the homework. Maybe on Friday, today is Wednesday. On Friday, I will send you the explanation of the homework. You can check your work. And on Monday, you have this objective, this part of the chapter for Monday. You're going to get next week the second part of the square root so that we can finish from the square root. Okay, so I know it's very hard for you and for me also for this distance learning, but we are obliged. So thanks God, I made some videos at the beginning of the year, and you are somehow used to this kind of learning. So as I told you, prepare well. We're going to meet on Monday. You're going to have multiple choice test and a summative test. You have both, nicht test, it's a homework. Part will be multiple choice and part will be summative where you're going to solve, and we're going to do the Zoom. And I told you when you're going to do the Zoom, I'm not going to, I don't want you to repeat the things we did last time because that's why you're going to jeopardize your grades in the school. So don't do so, please. Some of you all know what they did last time. So I know the names, I know everybody, I know I have all the facts. I didn't tell Madam Nasser about. So, however, next time don't repeat it, okay? I don't want to see students from other schools, and I know which school, I know who told these students, I know everything, I have all details, okay? So I don't want to talk about it. So for next time, please behave all well, okay?